believe, Acacia, I believe it's Beyond Barriers Radio, yeah?
Correct. Anchor.fm backslash or forward slash, whichever that one's called. Beyond Barriers Radio.
There's 3 levels of support, guys. There's 99 cents a month. That's right, little as $1 a month. All right, $4.99 or $9.99 a month. All right, that's a monthly donation. That just helps to ensure that we can continue to bring you quality podcasts and quality content. We love doing this, guys, but unfortunately, there is a cost associated with it, and we need to be able to keep this ball rolling. All right. So with that being said, we're going to move on to a couple different things here tonight, guys. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and I don't know about you, but I'm downright just sick of it. They're taking cartoons and fictional characters and toys and making them
Oh no!
evil and quite frankly disgusting. All right. Yeah, it looks like we had something happened on Twitch there. It looks like
it's okay. Don't worry about it.
But anyhow, so I'm going to share a couple feel-good stories with you guys, and they are all out of Florida here. All right. This one got national attention. I don't remember the date here. Looks like it was from January of this year. This happened in Orlando. Now, I don't know how many of you pay attention when you are out and about, or if you're out to dinner or on a date with your significant other and things of that nature. I don't know how many people you actually look at or pay attention to, right? But this manager, had the sense about her to pay attention to this young 11-year-old boy. All right, so the parents weren't looking. She noticed something wasn't right with the young man, and she wrote on a piece of paper, "Do you need help? Okay." This little boy shook his head yes, and she was able to alert local authorities. You guys, this kid was 20 pounds underweight. He had bruises all over him. The law enforcement was calling it torture. The boy told detectives that he had been tied by his ankles, his neck hung upside down from a door in his home, that his stepfather beat him with a wooden broom, a back scratcher, closed fists, and that he had been handcuffed and tied to a large moving dolly. And this is according to several news outlets as well as the local law enforcement. Now, fortunately, the parents have been arrested and charged. Okay. Now, what kind of awesomeness is this that this unknown person to this family, to this young boy, caught the signs, saw, recognized what this little boy was experiencing, and did something about it.
Oh, yeah.
That is something that just, if I'll get back on track here in a minute. Bear with me, guys.
It's all good.
There used to be a saying in the old lifestyle that snitches get stitches. All right, snitching is bad, and to a certain extent, yeah, I do agree with that statement. But if you see something, say something. If you see somebody you think is being possibly a victim of human trafficking, if you see somebody that you think is being abused, if you see somebody who you think could potentially be a rape victim, speak the hell up. Say something, right? So this manager, she has been given an award. She's been recognized, and kudos to her. I think, and I want to know what you guys have to say in chat. I want your guys' opinion. Let's take a poll on whether or not you think we should try to reach out to her and see if she'd be willing to come on the podcast. I think for one, it would be a great idea, and we're always looking for new and exciting things to talk about. But I think it'd be great to pick her brain and kind of get an idea of what was she thinking, what was her mindset. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can speak for myself as a mandatory reporter and as a first responder. There's times I act without even really thinking. It's just I see it and I go. It's almost instinctual. Case in point, was just before Thanksgiving. My family, a couple of family members had flown down. They were getting ready to fly out, and somebody ran into the terminal of the airport screaming that somebody went down. They needed help, and without missing a beat, I just took off running to where the issue was, and did the best I could with what I had. So,
Right.
um,
And that's all you can do. I mean, the thing is the fact that so many times in life we put our blinders on. If it's
yes,
not directly affecting me, then I don't pay attention to it. I don't look at it. If it doesn't affect me, even if it's affecting somebody else negatively, it
right,
doesn't personally affect me. So therefore, I don't need to do anything about it. And I think that's honestly what has gotten us to where we are today. Because I mean,
absolutely,
there's a difference between being so concerned about everybody else and a busybody and that you're into everybody else's business, but there's a difference between when you see something that is going on, something that isn't right, you need to step up because if you don't, somebody else might not, and you don't know.
absolutely. There are many things that in today's society that are just abhorrent. A well-known political commentator just recently passed away. He was a very hardcore conservative talk show host, and people were lauding his death, like just speaking these atrocious things. And it's like, if somebody were to say something similar to someone that you support, you would be trying to crucify them. We have
Right.
forgotten what it's like to be decent people.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
A lot of people are tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Oh yeah.
Well, Peaches, not a damn thing is in it for you except for maybe your 30 seconds of fame.
Right.
But then you're going to be forgotten just like everybody else.
Right.
All right. When you put good out, you get good back. At least that's what we're told. Uh, so I encourage you, all of you who are tuning in and listening, watching, etc., who will be watching this, I encourage you to try to pay it forward. Even
Absolutely.
a small act, a simple smile and a wave to somebody.
Right. Definitely.
You know. So another story that I found, and this is something I'm no stranger to. We did this a lot in South Dakota. Um, so there's it's going to be happening in Orange and Osceola County, Florida, and it's for students that can get a backpack filled with school supplies at no cost. It's called the Great Big Backpack Build. And it's set for June of this year, and it's so last year the event welcomed volunteers over the course of 6 days that built more than 12,000 backpacks. All right, 12,000 backpacks for children who need help getting school supplies. Now, friends, come on, 12,000 kids. That's a lot of freaking people, right?
Absolutely.
There's events like this that happen in virtually every major metropolitan area, in virtually every state. Okay, I want to encourage you guys to get up and get out there and volunteer. Obviously, to your comfort level with the current pandemic, but come on, get out there, volunteer. And if you can't volunteer, you know what? Go to Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, your local Piggly Wiggly, Publix, whatever grocery store chain you got. Buy a few school supplies, buy a couple tablets, buy a couple packs of pencils, colored pencils, binders, folders, whatever. Pick out like a first grader's list of what they need for school supplies, and buy, if you can, some of that list, and donate it.
Yeah.
You know, uh,
There's so many different things that we can do to help
absolutely,
not only, ourselves, but each other. And it doesn't, a lot of people think, well, I don't have any extra money. I'm barely making my bills.
sure.
I'm barely doing that. Believe me, I totally 100% get
So do
that.
I.
Um, but what we often forget is that our time is
Yes,
precious and it means a lot to others too. Hold the
absolutely.
door for an older lady going through. or an
Heck,
elderly couple.
heck, hold the door for someone your own age.
Exactly.
You know, uh, sometimes something that can make or break somebody's day is a simple smile
Yep.
or a casual greeting like "Good morning."
Absolutely.
You know, um, guys, I know what it's like to have to be on the receiving end of receiving help. I get it. It sucks. It's a pride thing. But I've also been on the giving end,
Mm.
donating my time, donating my talent. Uh, if you can't donate money, you got time that you can donate. You know,
Exactly.
there's homeless shelters constantly looking for volunteers to help serve meals.
Hmm.
Constantly, you know. But now, but this brings up a good point. If you're going to go do that, do it and enjoy it. Right?
Exactly.
Keep the phone in your damn pocket. You don't need to take a picture of yourself handing somebody money or handing somebody a sandwich. Sandwich, sorry.
Sandwich. That's a sandwich, you
my,
say.
my my redneck side just came out.
See, it's
Um,
always good for laughs on here. It is
that's right.
serious, but we gotta laugh,
That
especially,
absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. But don't take a don't you don't need to put it on social media that oh well I'm going to do this. If you want to share and invite people, that's one thing. But to broadcast it just to put yourself in some sort of good graces with people, well, you kind of need to reevaluate your life choices at that point, man.
Right.
Working on
Thank
some
you,
homework.
Cubano,
Oh
for
yes,
stopping in. We appreciate
thank
it.
you. Much love, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Um, and there is not a shortage of people doing good in this world. Uh,
Mm.
Unfortunately, you have to dig for those stories because negativity sells, man. It's all a
Right?
rating. It's all
It's
a rating
horrible.
system. Sensationalism, it sells. You get it? You dig? And what we try to do here is not be that those sensationalists whipping everybody up into a stupid frenzy for no good reason. You know?
Right.
Um,
Exactly. Speaking of cool things, I'm actually
yes.
going to read an article. I'm going to put it up here for everybody
Awesome.
in chat. There is a website that I found. It is called goodnewsnetwork.org.
Oh wow.
I was looking it up today, and let me tell you, it is amazing. It has international stories, it has inspirational, it has heroes, it has US. It's good news, good things that are happening because, like you said, negativity sells. Unfortunately, negativity sells. And
Yes, it
this
does.
particular story that I'm posting up, actually, I found it and I thought, like, being a mom, it touched me very dearly because I'm a mom and it has to do with the child. It says UK choir makes the sweetest lullaby for a 5-year-old in the US when their singing is the only thing that helps her sleep. And it says a British choir has come to the rescue of a little American girl suffering from night terrors by singing her to sleep with a special lullaby from 3,500 miles away. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, my oldest son had night terrors, like horribly so. And it is, as a parent, it is the worst feeling, not feeling like you can't do anything. You want to console them, you want to help them. You know, it's not like you can necessarily just look at them and be like, "Look, don't be afraid. That's not right." And they just look at you because a lot of times with night terrors, they will be asleep and still it's like they're awake but they're not,
Hmm.
and just in a complete nightmare. I mean, think of the most scariest horror movie that you can think of, and that's what they're going through. But anyway, so it says ever since their dad, music teacher Rick, came across a video of the Bristol Man Chorus singing a sea shanty last summer, 5-year-old Rosalind Kane and her sister Evelyn have been huge fans of the all-male group. When Rosalind began having nightmares, Rick reached out to the choir from his home in Pennsylvania to see if they could help his daughter through the power of song.
Nice.
Now, it gives me chills just reading this, but it's true because music we take for granted can help so many different things. People that are not able to communicate any other way are able to communicate this way.
Absolutely.
Says choir director Sam Burns got to work immediately crafting a personal lullaby for his new friend. The lyrics are simple and lovely. Rosalind Evelyn, sing good night. Rosalind Evelyn, close your eyes. Sweetest dreams, all warm and bright. Rosalind Evelyn, sing good night. The director then thought to himself, she loves the whole choir. I could arrange it for the boys to sing. The group was soon getting together via Zoom so they could sing the new melody out loud. So, how is little Rosalind sleeping nowadays? Her bad dreams are getting better, says Rick. I think she enjoys the added benefit of the personalized song being hers. Performing the song has been good for the lads in Bristol too. Was Sam saying the group were very flattered by the song request and that the news had really uplifted them. And then if you go to thegoodnewsnetwork.org and it's Rosalind King Lullaby is what it's under. It actually has a video of them singing the minute and a half song that they made for her.
That's
But
awesome.
this is another thing where like we think of so many negative things that have happened during the pandemic, but this is one that I would say is probably a pretty positive thing because
Absolutely.
Zoom has become second nature to us now
Yeah.
from overseas and everything else. Whereas years ago, we think, oh, how can we communicate overseas? Like this might have been possible a couple of years ago, but it would have been a lot more difficult had we not been through the pandemic and not had to rely on video to communicate back and forth. So there's just one, news story of good news going on, and one thing where somebody thought, what can I do to help this little girl? And they did. It's pretty amazing. Like I said, I saw that one today and it really touched me because they didn't have to do that. Let alone they didn't have to make it personalized to her. They
That's
could have
right.
just gotten together and recorded it, but they wanted to make sure to try and help this little girl.
Absolutely.
So there's mine. There's my
No,
good story for the
that's
day.
awesome. Man, it's refreshing to hear that people are actually wanting to do good in pardon my mouth, in such a shitty society.
Yeah. It's
And
hard. It's hard not to be negative because there is so many negative things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like there are injustices happening all over the
yes,
world. Absolutely. There's injustices happening in our backyard.
right.
But
And
if we
it's been happening for
centuries.
exactly. But if we continue to sit and dwell on it, we're going to make ourselves miserable. No wonder the amount of mental health issues has skyrocketed.
Oh my gosh, I
It's
know.
atrocious. And everybody's against everybody. Everybody's saying, "Oh, well, if you don't agree with me, that makes you a white supremacist," and all this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, "Come on, enough is enough." You know,
Hey, Red, I
yeah,
got a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
If you get a paper cut, what color is your blood?
Mine's green because I'm from outer space. No,
Well, okay. What is a
no,
quote unquote normal person's blood color when it hits the oxygenized
the
air?
normal is red.
Okay.
It is the color red. Yes.
Have you ever met a human being on this planet that when they bleed, it doesn't turn red?
I haven't, and this is coming from somebody who worked as an EMT and a volunteer firefighter for a good portion of his life. The fact of the matter is, people, whether you vote Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, or none of the above, whether you're
Or you might not vote at
Buddhist,
all.
is right. Whether you're Buddhist, Islamic, Jewish, Christian, neo-Christian, Satanist, agnostic, atheist, none of that shit matters because we all bleed red on the inside.
Yep.
We all have the same internal organs. We are
Well, wait, hold on there.
okay within reason here.
Within
I'm
within
talking
reason,
basic. I'm
yes.
talking basic human organs:
Okay,
heart,
heart,
lungs,
lung.
intestines,
Okay,
stomach.
okay.
Bones.
I'll give you that much.
God, damn hippies! No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway,
Right.
the fact of the matter is, people, is that we are of one race, and that's the human race. Skin pigment
Absolutely.
color means absolutely jack shit. All right.
Yep.
One of these nights, guys, I'm going to be doing a podcast, hopefully within the next couple months. It will be separate from this platform for various reasons. It will be a very raw uh, platform. It will not be PC. It will not be censored. Um, so if you have any now keep in mind, I'm not going to go spouting off racial slurs and all that bull crap, but
No.
there's going to be ample amount of sailor talk. Okay. And I'm going to basically put it to you exactly how it is. It's going to be blunt. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. And if that is something that you want to check out, please let me know in the comments in chat. If it is something that you do not wish to check out, that is fine. Please respect the fact that we all have differing views, and that is okay, because we are but one race, and that is the human race. Remember that.
Absolutely.
So we talked about mental health issues, and that brings up a good point. Uh, so a little side note for those of us tuning in, for those of you let's start again, huh? Hi. For those of you tuning in from the north up in Canada, there is a Canada Suicide Prevention Service. Okay, you can call 1-833-456-4566. This is available 24/7, 365. From 4 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. You can send a text to 45645. And that is up in Canada. Now, here in the United States, if you need help, okay, the National Suicide Prevention Helpline is available 24 hours, 365, 7 days a week in English and in Spanish. And that is available by dialing 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text the word home to 741-741 and 741-741. That's going to connect you with the crisis counselor. Good grief, I'm tongue tied. And that'll get you to the help you need. You can also dial 211 in most states in a situation where life safety is in imminent danger. You can call 911 or head to your local emergency department, where they have skilled professionals ready, willing, and able to help you without judgment. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said you can text home to 741-741. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then what was the text number? Was there a text number for Canada?
There is a text number for Canada, and that is 45645. That's available from 4 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time.
I'm just throwing that up in there in chat
I
for
see that.
all of our viewers now, and anybody that'll view this later on any of the other platforms.
So there's another story that I found that was published in mid-February. And it's out of Winter Garden, Florida, and there's a barber. His name is Earl Brigham. Okay. Of course, he puts that gown over his shoulders and all that now. He's 75 years old. Okay. And he's been a barber for a very long time now. This is a gentleman who cannot hear. He is deaf. Right? It says in the article here that he's also a jokester, a pastor, a husband, a father of 7, grandfather of 15, a servant to the deaf and the deaf community's ambassador to the hearing. Listen, guys, you don't know. Okay. I've met a lot of people, man. And this guy right here, that's awesome. He's been cutting hair for 45 years. All right. 45 years, guys. That's a long stinking time, especially if you cannot hear, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the barbershop that's named after him, Earl Bingham's Barbershop, it's owned by a couple. It has chairs, many chairs that Brigham himself and longtime fellow barber Lance Garreau share. Okay. So there's multiple chairs in there and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, his shop also has a toy basketball hoop where it continues to kind of work on his shot from his chair. But what a great thing for the kids to do. You know what I mean? Um, you just never know, guys. It's not hard to communicate with somebody. If somebody has a disability, whether they're in a wheelchair, maybe they're hearing impaired, or even visually impaired, don't treat them like a second class citizen. Interact with
No.
them.
Yep.
If they have Down syndrome, Asperger's, however it's pronounced, I'm sorry. You know, reach out, interact. It's okay. You know,
Absolutely.
they're no different than you and I. They might have a differing abilities or lack thereof,
Hmm.
but they just wanted to be treated like they're human, guys.
Well, and it's like I tell my son, and he has autism,
Right.
closer to Asperger's, very high functioning, but I tell him, you are no different than any other kid in your class.
Absolutely.
Some people have a hard time with math. You have a
Right.
hard time with reading. You have to work a little bit hard. You
Right.
don't know what that other person has to work harder to do. Um,
Exactly.
it's just you never know. You don't know what battle somebody else is fighting in their life, and
Right.
because they might look a little bit different, or they might act a little bit different, or some people are like, oh well, I don't really like this person because they're just weird. Well, you know what, they might just be kind of weird, but that doesn't make them any less. And hey, Gregory, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
today's episode is not only about mental health, but with coffee and a conversation, we do cover some mental health issues.
Yes.
Today is
Yes,
just
we
kind of
do.
a low key, and we're talking about good stories that we can find. I posted up in chat about goodnewsnetwork.org, where you can find a whole bunch of positive and encouraging news stories for today. So yes, we do. We cover mental health. Thursday actually is typically our main mental health, which is hashtag the more you know.
That's right.
And this Thursday, Larry Cooperman will be joining us, and he will be having a presentation for us. So I'm so excited, and
I
he's
am
always
too.
full of just wonderful, wonderful inspiration, but
Yes.
also knowledge. Like
That's right.
last time he was on Coffee and Conversation, actually, he was talking about, it was right after January 6th happened. And for all you listeners that don't know, Larry Cooperman is Jewish, and he saw the Camp Auschwitz shirt up at the Capitol, and others that were wearing horrible, horrible shirts. And obviously that bugged him, as well it should. It was horrible.
Right.
But his solution was to the anger, that it made him angry, but it made him angry, and he wanted to educate
Yes.
them on why
Thank you.
their ideology was misplaced.
You know, when you bring up that subject, I was just talking with my girlfriend about this tonight. There are a lot of people on both the left and the right that are deniers of the Holocaust, and I'm like, how in the world, with all the proof, the proof, you're willing to believe that a man walked on water and fed thousands off of 3 damn fish and 2 damn bread loaves on faith alone, but when you're presented proof of a horrific event, oh, that didn't happen. You are a special kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting would be a way to put it.
I mean, there's survivors that still have their numbers tattooed on them.
Speaking of survivors, I actually was able to meet um I've been able to meet several individuals that have generational trauma from it. And I didn't even know generational trauma was a thing until I met some of these individuals, and the most amazing individuals ever. And one girl that I met, she didn't know until she was much older that her family, she had a lot of her family died in the Holocaust, but that was something that they did not talk about. So she did not know until she was much older. And
Dang.
just seeing the pain that people, like, you don't realize it until you really see it.
Right.
And the hearts of these people is amazing. But for somebody such as Larry to be like, it made me angry, but it made me angry to where I wanted to use that anger not to push them away, but to educate them.
Exactly. I got a very similar situation just today. I was reading on somebody's Facebook feed, and somebody.
Tim's all wrote in.
Yes, yes, fantastic. Yes, absolutely, Tim. You're not wrong. Uh, Thanks for tuning in, by the way, Tim. It's good to see you here. Welcome.
Absolutely.
So I was seeing somebody posted on Facebook, and this is where he got like bombarded with these people, and one of the so the comment was, you know what? Give me a minute, guys. I'm actually going to look it up because I don't want to misquote it.
That's all good.
But I had the opportunity to essentially educate somebody. And what I mean by that is they went on this whole diatribe of how if you say all lives matter, that you're a white supremacist and blah, 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 blah. So I had the opportunity to be like, hey, listen, just because somebody says that does not make them a white supremacist. How do I know? I used to be one. And I had the opportunity to explain to them and even refer them to the Beyond Barriers website to hopefully help educate them a little bit as to what white supremacy is and what it is not. I went on to say that a white supremacist would not make the comment that all lives matter because, well, a white supremacist believes that only white lives matter. So seems to be a lot of confusion in today's society about what is white supremacy and what isn't. The word Nazi gets thrown around a lot too. My friends, listen, educate yourselves, please. Yard, yes.
I'm gonna stop you there only because I think this is very important to address.
Yes.
I know exactly where you're going with it.
Yep.
But for any of our viewers and listeners, I haven't talked a lot about it on my shows. I've alluded to it a little bit. Obviously, if anybody has ever seen Beyond Barriers podcast, I am the co-host on there with Jeff Scoop.
Right.
But to give a little bit of background, Red, you work with Beyond Barriers now.
I do. I'm the outreach coordinator.
A little bit of your history? See, now this is a coffee and a conversation that has now turned in, hey, we're going to interview Red today.
Hey, that's all right. So everybody listen. Yes, my name is Red. I was a neo-Nazi for the better part of about a decade, if not a little longer. Mm-hmm. I ran with what was at one time the largest neo-Nazi organization in the United States called the National Socialist Movement. And even after my time in the NSM, I went on to join other groups. I ran solo quite a bit. Now, guys, I have been out of that lifestyle, out of the movement altogether for 13 years. Okay? That's a long freaking time. All right? I do not regret my decision on leaving. Sometimes I ask myself what took me so damn long to leave. You know? Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And I have the privilege to be on staff with Beyond Barriers as an outreach coordinator and as a public speaker. So part of my duties is to help educate people. Okay. The word Nazi does get thrown around a lot. And honestly, it's frustrating because it's like half these people that are throwing around the word don't know what it means. All right. So what made me change? Good question. Thank you for asking. So what made me change? Gosh, there's so many different variables involved in that, ranging from losing the respect of my grandfather, who I looked up to, who I still look up to even after his death. He's still a constant inspiration to me. What it ultimately came down to is I realized that I was throwing my life away. You know, if I would have ended up when I did end up in jail, none of the brothers or sisters, for that matter, came and put money on my books. You know, they didn't come down and visit me. If I was hemmed up in the hospital, they didn't come fucking see me. They didn't care. What it really came down to is I was just another number. You know, I was a way for the group as a whole to make money, right?
Now, when you obviously coming to that realization is huge too, but now when you were involved, were you did you find that it was always constantly a battle and that like you thought you were going for this great thing that in reality it wasn't, and that like when did you realize that this thing that you were trying to do like was actually hurting people and not helping people?
Um, it took a while to get to that realization. It wasn't until the latter part of my time in the movement as a whole.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and even after I left, it started hitting home a little harder that, wow, a pivotal point in my life, I was on vacation in Washington, D.C., and I got to tour the Holocaust Museum down there,
Mm. Yeah.
right? I didn't make it halfway through before I'm ugly crying. I'm not talking just a few tears and, oh, hey, red is sad. No, I'm talking ugly crying, people. I'm talking, snot rolling down my face, tears rolling down my face, like an uncontrollable sobbing.
Right.
And this gentleman, one of the security guards there, a black man, a person of color, he sat down with me, goes, young man, I've seen many reactions in this museum, but none like yours. And I shared my story with him, and he started tearing up, and I was like, holy shit. you know so there, so yeah, I mean, on top of that, I started seeing the animosity between the groups and all that. There wasn't any true loyalty, if you will.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of cohesion. There was a lot of pardon the terminology, folks, but my dick is bigger than yours. Much like in the biker gang and realm and all that. So that's ultimately part of a lot of what helped make me want to change and be a better person, because I knew deep down I was just seeking a place to belong, and they painted a pretty picture that it was there was some brainwashing in there, um, and I am better than that, you know.
Yep.
So back to the original
Yep.
what we were talking about,
Backstory.
that post. No, that's all right. The post simply it's a picture of a multicultural picture, okay, and it just simply says lives matter. If you have to put a color in front of these two words, you are a racist. There's only one race, and that is the human race. Now, my
Mm.
friend caught a bunch of flack for that. All right. Now, this is a guy that I've known this cat for a handful of years, and he's a good cat. All right. Uh, but he makes a good point. It goes back to something that Morgan Freeman once said about racism. It's there,
Mhm.
and we keep propagating it. You
Yeah.
know, it, unfortunately, it's the class warfare and stuff like that. It's unfortunately it's not going to go anywhere. It's been happening since biblical and even pre-biblical days. The odds that it's actually going to go somewhere, go away while we're alive, probably not. Could it go away? Yes, and I hope it does. You know. So yes, so for all of you who are watching and who don't know now, when I do speak about stuff like this, I do have a little bit of knowledge. I dare say I don't want to call myself an expert, but you know,
Right.
definitely know a thing or two.
We actually have a question. Somebody was saying, even during the time, did you question beliefs by meeting someone that didn't fit the stereotypes? They say, I've always found once you meet someone from a different group and realize you have more in common than you think.
I'm going to ask you to break that question down for me, if you would. Now, what platform are they tuning in on,
They're tuning
Acacia?
in on YouTube right now.
Okay.
They were saying that um, even during your time, like in the movement, did you
hmm
question your beliefs when you met somebody from like another race? Did you find, were you
So,
able, yeah, answer
yeah,
that
okay,
question.
that makes more sense. And that is an awesome question. And yes, I had an experience with a gentleman who was a guard at a juvenile detention center, who I met as a young child, as an adolescent, who I actually stayed in contact with even while I was in the movement, believe it or not. So yes, I was still friends with a person of color. I was at one point renting the upstairs of his house while still active in the movement. Um, there was some common ground respect. He respected me, I respected him.
Mm,
So we were good to one another, and so yeah. So eventually, yes, those were also parts of the equation that helped lead to me ultimately dropping out of the movement completely and wanting to change my ways.
awesome. And then one thing real quick. I know
Hmm.
somebody had mentioned about, and we're not going to get into the big debate on whether you can say Black Lives Matter or not, because we are saying that, yes, we are totally for Black Lives Matter, and that in that lives matter, period, of
Yes,
all races, of all religions, of all ethnic backgrounds, and everything else. Um, we are just saying that the sacredness of life matters. So
yes,
I'm going to
yes,
put that to bed right now, because there are so many different arguments that we can have. But
absolutely,
the main thing that we're just trying to say is that all life is precious. Life
yes.
in general is precious. Um,
The color of your skin
Period.
matters nothing to me. Okay. And what I mean by that is, regardless of your skin color, your sexual orientation, your religious orientation, your political affiliation, I don't care. You're still a
Right.
human being, and that's what matters to me. That's what I care about.
Right.
That,
Absolutely.
because unfortunately, there are uh, um, and there is a massive amount of injustice that is happening throughout our country and throughout the world,
Absolutely.
and we have to be able to discern the, what we have. What how do we go about showing support for a cause without becoming extreme about it?
And I think that's the bigger question nowadays, is that um there we have lost our middle ground
Yes,
in a lot of ways. We've lost the fact that you don't have to be extreme on one side or the other. You don't have to, because when you cross over, it's a very fine line a lot of times. And when you cross over that line, it's very easy to cross over. It is not as easy to cross back. You cross that line and you start doing things that do harm others. No matter how good of a cause you think it might be, if it's harming someone else, it's not a good cause.
absolutely. You know, so listen, folks, those that are tuning in on YouTube, I appreciate the interaction and the questions. Those of you that are tuning in on Facebook or on Twitch, whatever platform you are tuning in on, please, if you have more questions, feel free to ask. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not a wordsmith by any means. All right. Sometimes I don't have the pretty answers that everybody seeks. All right. Um, but the answer that you're going to get is it's from here.
Real.
All
Yeah.
right. You're gonna get raw. You're gonna get true. I mean,
Right.
that's
Exactly. Well, and that's the way it is. I mean, that's kind of how coffee and a conversation hashtag the more you know goes. Like,
absolutely.
that's Mamma Mia. Spaceballs. What does it even stand for? Um,
What does Spaceball stand for?
yes.
Oh my goodness. Check out the movie Spaceballs. Okay, that is what this background stands for. It was a running joke that Mel Brooks did. It's called it's all about merchandising. So Spaceballs the hand towels, Spaceballs the toilet paper, Spaceballs the movie, Spaceballs the board game, Spaceballs the whiskey. I mean, so it's all about just it was a
It's
spoof,
all about
really.
Spaceballs.
Yes, yes. But yeah, so it was all part of the goofy plot in the movie. Have I
Right.
been a lot happier since leaving? The long and short answer of that is yes. Now, in the very beginning, it was very much so a struggle. There was a lot of camaraderie. I met a lot of people. You know, um, but yes, overall, I have been a boatload happier. It has allowed me to experience so many different things that before I would just be closed off to. Uh, I've got to travel and meet people. I've gotten to become involved with a wonderful organization like Beyond Barriers and be able to help educate people on what extremism is and how to approach it from a peaceful standpoint, so we can work to eradicate it. And it's a daunting task, but it's worth every bit of effort that we put into it.
Mm.
With that being said, uh, I know Beyond Barriers is doing a live panel, I believe, on the 21st.
Yes,
Now,
it'll be.
is that something? Now, that's something that can be where the public can chime in and ask questions,
Yes, it
correct?
will. I will have links up for it. We will also be live streaming it.
Awesome,
If you're unable to view it via Zoom, it will be live on Zoom. And then I will also be live streaming it as well on all the same platforms. And
fantastic.
um, actually, the topic of the discussion is Our Nation in Peril and the Road to Recovery.
Yes,
So definitely, it'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, March 21st. And I will be putting out advertisements for that this week with links. That way you can definitely sign up and try to join in. Also, for any of you guys that are just joining us, we have Beyond Barriers Radio on anchor.fm. And we also have it on Spreaker, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other things. And thank you, Mama Mia.
yes.
Yes, my hair color is sort of ginger right now. Um, it was red on the bottom, and then if I have a sub goal this week for my Twitch viewers that, well, sorry, for this month, that if I get at least 15 subs, and if I get, it'll go for YouTube also. If I get at least 15 subs, or if you like and subscribe, I will get, you guys get to do a poll as to what my new hair color will be for April.
Now, guys,
Oh.
listen up. The sub count is at 13. We need two more. Two more. Hit the heck out of that like and share button. Hit that subscribe button. Come on, guys. Show some love. Acacia, you mentioned Anchor.fm,
Mhm.
right? And for those of you who do not know what Anchor FM is, it is you go to Anchor.fm. All right. It is your one stop shop for all your for any of your broadcast needs, really, and it's free. Yeah, free. Come on, how can it get any better than free, right? It's got all the creation tools you're going to need to allow you to record and edit right from your phone or your computer, for that matter. All right, it's
Mhm.
going to help you develop and you can maybe make a little money on your podcast, right? Speaking of that, show some love. Anchor.fm, Beyond Barriers Radio. Um, you can find us on there. You can find past podcasts. If you want to listen in again and maybe you thought you missed something, you want to hear it all over again, and or you want to share it, by all means, go for it. Now there's ways you can donate to Beyond Barriers Radio as well. All right, and it goes as low as 99 cents a month. That's right, that's $1 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee nowadays, right? Or you can go up to $4.99 or $9.99 a month. And that's, we hate to be those guys and say, hey, man, we need money. But you know what? We want to continue to do this. We love doing this. We want to be able to ensure and secure the fact that we can bring you more topics and more podcasts in the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years. And if you can't donate, hey, that's cool. We still want you to tune in. We still want
Absolutely.
you to like, to share, to subscribe. Don't when you hit that subscribe, it means you're going to get alerted to when we have another podcast up. We don't want you to miss out, guys.
Yes, definitely. And also, we will be doing giveaways pretty soon. Mia Mama, you had asked about that.
Yes.
Um, I am currently working on getting my underground media merch shop open, and we will also
Awesome.
have Beyond Barriers merch in there as well. As far as, and remember, all of the proceeds will go to obviously help with this podcast and the other podcasts. It'll
Right.
also go to Beyond Barriers, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And with Beyond Barriers, we help educate the community, not just on the threat of white supremacy, but also on what we can do to prevent violent extremism,
Right.
to start with our kids, to start in our schools, to address, you know, how a lot of people think that it's just about getting people out, or it's just about keeping people from going in, and it is.
That's a
But
big
in
part of
order
it.
to do that, we have to train our children. We
That's
have
right.
to raise our children to know that we have more in common than we do have differences.
Absolutely.
Our outward differences don't mean anything. We're
That's
still
right.
human, and we got to let our children know that. We also have to let them know about the dangers of
Yes.
what hate will do.
Yes. And guys, we also like to help families of those members or former members of those groups, welcome them back to help them understand that yes, people can and do change. All right, myself as an example, I just stepped away this month from being a volunteer firefighter for 13 years. When I left the movement, I felt immediately like I needed to give back. So I started volunteering as a firefighter. That's right. I ran into burning buildings unpaid to save people. I had no clue who they were,
Right.
you know? And, uh, and now I have other ways that I volunteer my time as well. But people can, and they do often change. And now, granted, they have to want the change,
Absolutely.
and uh, I'm living proof, guys, that people can change. The old adage of well, once this or always this, no, that's not the case. For
Right.
some, maybe, but not for all. It's not a one size fits all shirt.
No, and that's another thing, is that when we paint everybody of, whether it's race, whether it's beliefs, whether it's politics, when we paint everybody with a broad brush,
Mm-hmm.
you can't. And you
Oh,
have to be careful when you do. It's very easy to do,
yes,
but you can't, because you don't know what's going on inside that person. You don't know what's going on.
right,
And not everybody that is conservative is one way, not everybody that's liberal
right,
is another way, not everybody, you know, the politics don't make the person,
exactly,
the politics don't make the human, and the religious beliefs too. Is like, you don't, nobody has the right to dehumanize another person for any reason whatsoever. Period.
exactly.
But we are almost out of time tonight, guys, but I do want to thank you all for joining us. And yes, we will be back on Thursday night for hashtag the more you know, and Larry Cooperman will be joining us.
That is
Super,
a show
super
you.
excited.
Yes, that is one you guys don't want to miss.
Yes. And actually, Larry's topic will be is titled Nationalism, the
Mm-hmm.
Other God That Failed. And I will just leave that open ended so you
Yeah.
guys can wonder what exactly that means. But definitely stop in for a lesson in history and humanity and society. And we also obviously highlight on hashtag the more you know a little bit more of the mental health awareness.
Yes.
We try to highlight that on all of my underground media shows. And also, don't forget to check out our YouTube for Beyond Barriers Media. We have the Beyond Barriers podcast on there. Hopefully, we'll be starting to stream that here on Twitch also here in the near future.
Yeah.
But for now, I hope everybody has a wonderful week and has a
Absolutely.
really good start. Just remember, do one small thing a day for someone else, whether it's hold a door, smile, say hello,
That's right.
anything, because you never know what that small token of appreciation or caring can do for another person's life, and you might save a life.
That's right. Remember, folks, keep smiling. It's going to make people wonder what you're up to. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you all for tuning in. Much love and respect. For those of you who interacted and asked questions, thank you so very much. We encourage that on both the podcasts here, that to chime in and ask questions, because that's what we're here for. Okay. You never know until you ask. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you again for tuning in. We hope to see you all here very soon. Peace, love, and graham crackers. Cheers.